Yeah.
Well.
Hello and welcome everyone. Hi Hanesh, and I think so. We wait for some other people, but nobody will come. Andrea, she said she will off today. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think so. Sunday, so most of people are busy doing some other stuff as well. Okay.
Mm.
So, understanding areas of law affecting businesses and professional operations, assessment criteria, analyze the requirement of data protection legislations, explain how intellectual property can be protected, and then assess the impact of legislation relating to employment, and then assess the importance of intellectual rights, property rights to the business. So, indicative contents, data protection legislations. Uh, can you see my screen, Hinesh, and can you hear my voice as well? Everything is okay?
Perfectly fine.
So data legislations covers the use of information in business, the requirements of data protection legislations, and the penalties for non-compliance. So the relevant laws include the Data Protections Act 2018 and GDPR. Then intellectual property explores different types of intellectual property protection through copyright, patents, and trademarks, safeguarding digital assets, remedies for unlawful use, and the overall importance of intellectual property for businesses. Then employment law encompasses employed and non-employed status, legal consequences of employment, key features of employment, contracts, terminations of contracts, unfair dismissal, statutory redundancy, employee obligations regarding social security, and equal opportunities legislations. So, what is data protection, and why do we need data protections? So, the necessity for data protection arises from the critical need to safeguard key pieces of information commonly stored by businesses. So, this include employee records, customer details, loyalty schemes, transactions, and data collections. The aim is to prevent the misuse of the data by third parties, particularly in the context of fraud such as phishing scams and identity theft. So phishing scams and identify threats, and identifying the three requirements of the Data Protection Act is crucial. The Data Protection Act adheres of six important principles: data obtain and proceed fairly, lawful, and transparently, and then be process of specified, explicit, and lawful purpose, and shall not be processed in any manner incompatible with these purposes. Uh, be adequate, relevant, not excessive for those purposes, accurate and kept up to date, and be kept for no longer than it is necessary for the specified purpose. So be processed is a secure manner, taking up appropriate security measures with regard to rights of accidental or unauthorized access to personal data, or accidental or unauthorized distraction, loss, use, modification, or disclosure of personal data. What is intellectual property? Any comments on this? If you have any idea, Ganesh?
Yeah. As a summary, this is simply a an item or a design or any object that is created, designed, invented by an individual or an entity, which is then protected and registered with copyright or with a trademark protection to that entity or group.
Yeah, that's correct. Spot on, well explained. Intellectual property is obviously property is defined as creations or originating forms the mind, such as stories, inventions, work, or symbolics, clarifying the nature of intellectual property. So it is emphasized that having the correct type of protection is essential to prevent unauthorized actions like stealing or copyright. So the protection extends to various aspects, including the name of products, brand, inventions, the design of appearance of products, and creation in written or produced form. So here, what is employment law? Obviously, any comments on employment law? I hope you will know very well about employment law
Yeah,
as well.
employment law is to protect an employee of a business or an organization, whichever type it is in this country. It kicks in on the date that you start, and you have more protection after 2 years of service. It also includes those who do contracted work as well in this country, in the UK. And it gives them certain protection from their religion, from their physical and mental state, and also protection from being based on judgment, which may be seen as unfair. So your human rights could also, as an individual, be protected. And it's to safeguard the company as well, so that they are also employing of good character and integrity of individuals to perform the work.
Yeah, that's correct. So understanding basically employment law and regulations addressing the right of individual employed within organizations. So it regulates various aspects of working life and relationships, as including work time, minimum wage, health and safety, childcare, pensions, dismissals, and redundancy. Okay. So analyze the requirements of data protection analyze. So the comprehend the requirements of data protection legislation and examination of the six principles uh, is necessary. So section 61A context of the data subjects, then processing for contract performance. Data processing is permissible if it is necessary for the performance of a contract with the data subject or to take steps to enter into contracts. Then a legal obligation processing if justified, if it is necessary for compliance with the legal obligation. Then vital interests here, vital interest processing is allowed if it is necessary to protect the vital interest of a data subject or another person. Then processing is necessary for the performance of a task carried out in the public interest or in the exercise of official authority vested in the controller. Uh, then legitimate interest necessary for the purpose of legitimate interest pursued by a controller or a third party except when overridden by the interest, rights, or freedom of the data subject. What is the personal data? Personal data obviously is any information about a living individual that is capable or identifying that person. Sensitive personal data, also known as special categories of personal data under GDRP, includes information related to racial or ethnic origin, politics opinions, religious beliefs, trade union membership, physical or mental health, sexual life, alleged or actual criminal activity, and criminal record. Then, sorry, data. What is data protection? Uh, Data protection is a practice of preventing harm or individuals by avoiding the misuse or mismanagement of their personal data. The Data Protection Act applies to those who collect, use, or store personal data and outlines 8 principles to be followed. So, yeah, so collect, use of personal data, only collect information for specific purpose and don't then use it or any other, purpose. Here, so then only collect what you need for the specific purpose, keep it accurate and up to date, safe and secure, process information lawfully, and allow subject access in line with the Act. So what is GDPR? So GDPR basically Journal Data Protection Regulations effective since May 25th, 2018. So supersedes the Data Protection Act. Key changes include strengthening the right of individuals, imposing more obligations or organization in handling personal data, having a legitimate reason for processing data, covering a significant portion of processing activities, requiring freely given and unambiguous consent that can be withdrawn easily, initiating data processing activities with the privacy by design and default subject access request encompasses data processing and sharing practices, not just information held with the reduced response time, granting individuals the right to request data protection known as the right to be forgotten under certain circumstances, in reducing mandatory breach reporting, then holding data uh, processors liable, mandating the liability to demonstrate compliance with the GDPR, imposing potential fines of up to 4% annual global turnover of $20 million through the Information Commissioner Office considers fines a last resort. So compliance with GDPR involves a comprehensive approach to data protection encompassing various aspects to ensure the right and privacy of individuals are respected and upheld. Then GDPR principles, lawful, fairness, transparency, aligning with data protection principles, processing must be lawful, fair, and transparent. Purpose limitation, collect data only for specific purposes, refraining from using it for unintended purpose, data minimizations, collect only the necessary data for the in intended purpose, accuracy, then strong limitations, integrity, confidentially, then accountability. uh, Organizations must be able to demonstrate compliance with the aforementioned principles. Data protection terminology, data control, the individual or organizations determining how the what data processing entails. So the data subject, the person about whom personal data is undergoing processing, data processors, the individuals or organization taking action with the personal data control. This could be a third party acting on behalf of the controller. Then processing encompasses any action involving personal data, including its storage. Data protection officer, a specific role mandated by law or many organizations. Including large church bodies such as NCI or dioceses. Then, can you see my screen, Harish? Any issue?
Yes, yeah,
Can
it's
you hear me?
clear.
Okay, okay, thank you.
It's easy to read.
Okay, so processing personal data under GDPR and the Data Protection Act, the primary focus is on ensuring proper and lawful data processing and sharing rather than preventing legitimate data sharing. Consent is not always required for processing personal data. Several situations allow processing without explicit consent. Performance of a contract uh, processing is permissible if it is necessary for the performance of a contract. Compliance with legal obligations is processing is justified when it is required to comply with the legal obligations. Protection of vital interest processing is allowed. Uh, Vital interest of the data subject or on another individuals. Intellectual property can be how intellectual property can be protected. Intellectual property is a safeguard by legal mechanisms such as patents, copyright, and trademarks, allowing individuals to gain recognition or financial benefits from their inventions or creations. Protecting intellectual property simplifies legal actions against those who might steal or copy it. Various type of protection exists, and the method depends on the nature of the creation. Some types of protection are automatic, while other requires a formal application. Automatic protection applies to copyright, covering writing, literacy work, art, photography, films, TV, music, web content, and design rights, sharp shapes of objects. So protection you have to apply for type of protection, trademarks, registered design, and patents. So trademarks applied for protecting products, name, logos, and jingles with an approved period of 4 months. Then registered designs applied of safeguarding the appearance of a product, covering shape, packaging, patterns, colors, and decoration. So the approvals process takes up to 1 month. Then finally, the patents, inventions applies for protecting inventions and products such as uh, machine parts, tools, and medicines with an extensive application period of around 5 years. Then how copyright protects your work? Copyright serves as a robust mechanism to safeguard your work and prevent unauthorized usage. Importantly, copyright protection is automatic, required neither applications nor a fee. There is a no formal register of copyright work in the UK. You automatically receive copyright protection upon creating. Original literacy, dramatic, musical, and artistic work, including illustration and photography. Original non-literacy, literary written work like software, web content, database, sounds, and music recordings. Then film and television recording, broadcasts, the layout of published editions of written dramatic and musical work. So in it is optional to it is optional to mark your work with the copyright symbol, your name, and the year of creation, as this does not affect the level of protection. How copyright protects your work? Copyrights prevents various sections on your work, including copyright distributing copies, which is free of charge, uh, for sale, renting or lending copies, performing, showing or playing your work in public, making adaptations, and placing it on the internet. Internationally, your work may be protected by copyright through agreement like the Berne Convention. Copyright typically lasts of minimum of life plus 50 years of most types of written, dramatic, and artistic works, and at least 20 years, or sorry, 25 years, 25 years for photographic with potential variations for other types of work. How long copyright lasts? Copyright protection begins immediately upon the creation of a work, and once it expires, anyone is free to use, copy the work. The duration of copyright varies depending on the type of work. When written, dramatic, musical, and artistic work lasts for 70 years. Uh, After the author's death, sound and music recording persists for 70 years for the first publication. Film extends or 70 years after the death of the director. Screenplay author and composer broadcast last for 50 years from the first broadcast. Then layout of published editions protect for 25 years from the initial publications. So, in case of disputes regarding licensing, collecting, societies can involve the copyright tribunal to decide on certain disputes. Patenting your inventions. Patents provide legal protection for inventions, granting the right to take legal action against unauthorized making, using, selling, or importing. To secure a patent, the invention must, complete the following or fulfill the following criteria. Here, sometimes then it must be something that can be made or used. It must be new, must be inventive, not just a simple modification of any existing data. So, however, obtaining patents can be both costly and challenging. Patents are expensive and difficult to get. What you cannot patent. So certain types of inventions are, ineligible for patent protections, including literally dramatic, musical, or artistic works. Additionally, methods of doing business, playing games, or abstract thinking, medical treatment or diagnosis methods, discoveries, scientific theories, mathematical methods, and certain computer programs or mobile applications cannot be patented. Digital assets protecting. What are the digital assets? Non-tangible entities owned by individuals or companies encompass like item like digital photos, videos, songs. So these files reside on storage devices, including local computers or cloud-based networks. Safeguarding these assets as intellectual property is essential. Implementing two-factor authentications or 2FA wherever possible, managing rights and access, adhere to Wi-Fi security best practices, and obtaining the right insurance or recommended measures to ensure the protection of these valuable digital assets. Remedies for unlawful use of intellectual property. In the context of private civil infringement actions, successful claimant have various remedies at their disposal. So these include obtaining an injunction, receiving an award of cost, claiming damages or an account of profit, securing the delivery up or destruction of infringing items and related items, obtaining tracing orders and issuing order for the publication of a judgment. There are three main, categories of remedies against copyright infringement: civil remedies, uh, injunctions, damages, delivery or infringement copies; criminal remedies, imprisonment of the accused or imposition of fine or both; and then administrative remedies. Some relevant questions: understanding why intellectual property protection is crucial involves recognizing that many items eligible for protection play essential role in business success. Strong brands are vital for retaining loyal clients, and if easy copied, their strengths dimensions risking customer loss. Similarly, valuable inventions are often profitable due to their unique problem solving capabilities. Easily copied inventors erode competitive advantages. Conducting an intellectual property audit is a necessary steps before pursuing protection. So this involves identifying where intellectual property is used within the organization, determining current ownership of intellectual property rights. Uh, intellect if the organizations determining current ownership of intellectual property rights and assessing the values of the IP. So, an intellectual property audit should encompass various forms of IP. So, valuable written materials and other valuable assets, seeking assistance from a business acquaintance is advisable if uncertainties arise during the audit process. Importance of intellectual property for business. Yes, Hiresh, sorry, any questions or any, any
Eh,
comments?
no further
So
questions. Yeah,
patents play a vital role in safeguarding inventions, exclusively protecting them for a defined period from the intellectual property office. Litigation against third parties unfairly using patent inventions becomes more accessible. Trademark covering unique aspects like slogans and brand names are crucial for businesses. Although legal action is possible without trademark registration, it is recommended to register with the Intellectual Property Office. Design a right for automatic protection for the appearance of three-dimensional objects. With the registrations extended and widening the protection to cover two-dimensional objects. Importance of business intellectual property for business. So in the realm realm for intellectual property, copyright, protections, original works such as website content, instructions, manuals, paintings, sound recording, and software. The protection is automatic in the UK, but not in the US, covering creations resulting from intellectual effort, skills, or creative powers. Additionally, businesses should be mindful of the territorial nature of intellectual property protections typically applicable to specified regions or countries. Obtaining intellectual property protections abroad is often straightforward, considering many countries have similar, intellectual property law to the UK. I will say same as more, because most of countries have common law which is same as UK law. Assess the impact of legislation relating to employment. Employment law serves as the regulatory framework governing the relationship between employers and employees. So it encompasses various aspects dictating employer expectations, tasks employees can be assigned, and the right of employees at work. So the scope of employment law includes legal requirements, checks and processes in recruitment, uh, terms and conditions of employment, data protection, holiday working hours, and pay, health and safety regulations, maternity and parental rights, discrimination, discipline, grievance and dismissal procedures, whistleblowing employment, whistleblowing. So, employment tribunals, uh, redundancy. This comprehensive coverage ensure a fair and lawful working environment for both employees and employer. Employment and the law. Recruitment procedure must not uh, discriminate against any group, ensuring fairness, pay equality between men and equality. Sorry, pay equality between men and women for the same job is mandatory. Adequate standards for washing facilities, toilets, and fire escape are essential. Employees are obligated to provide health and safety equipment to employees. All staff must undergo health and safety training. Written contracts uh, must be given to employees, and it is illegal to pay worker less than the national minimum wage. Firms cannot be advertise redundant job, and employees must have copies of the business discipline procedures. Unfairly dismissal employees have the right to appeal to an employment tribunal. Dismissal is permissible only for incompetence or gross misconduct. Anti discrimination laws stop discrimination based on age, religion, or sexual orientation. Then there are type of employments. There are two primary working relationship exist. Two type of works: employee working under a contract of service, self-employed independent contractor work under a contract of services. So the Employment Right Act 1996 says grants employees, uh, specifying employees' rights such as protections from unfair dismissal, entitlement of redundancy, payment if made redundant, and the right to a minimum notice period for contract terminations. Then Equal Pay Act 1970 addresses not only pay but other terms, introducing an equality clause into all contracts if workers of the opposite sex perform the same or equal value jobs. Working time regulations 1998 set a 48 hours weekly work limit and on average, ensuring 4 weeks paid leave annually and 1 day off each week. Then Employment Act 2002 grants parents of children under 17 or disabled children under 18 the right to request flexible working arrangement. Employers must seriously consider such requests and can only reject them for clear business reasons. This act introduces paternity and adoption leave. Additionally, the National, Minimum Wage Act 1998 establishes minimum pay, levels, so impose minimum levels of pay. Then we talk about National Minimum Wage. National Minimum Wage Act of 1998 establishes mandatory wage floor throughout the United Kingdom. So as of 1st April 2021, the rates are set. I think so. There are many changes after that, but here is talking about 21st. Sorry, 1st of April 21. The rates are set 890 for individuals age 23 and over. And I think so. It's quite old, isn't it?
Yeah, this is out of date now.
Yeah, because right now I think so it's 11 point something, if I'm not wrong, or 10 point something.
Correct. Under 23, £10.40, and over 23, it's much higher, £11.70.
Yeah. So I will ask them to change, this information, because it's a quite interesting topic, basically employment law and Data Protection Act and National Minimum Wage, but they should update this, so I will speak to them anyway. So age 23 and over, so 8.36 for those between 21 and 22 years old, 6.56 for individuals aged 18 to 24, 62 for those under 18, and 434 apprentices. Statutory redundancy, when it comes to redundancy, eligible employees with 2 or more years of service with their current employer are generally entitled to redundancy pay. The amount is calculated based on the following criteria. Half this one is the criteria is half a week's pay for each full year, and under the age of 22, 1 week's pay for each full year age 22 or older but under 41, and 1.5 week pay for each full years aged 41 or older. So is not enough, I think so. Is not enough. If
Don't think this is correct. I think
yeah,
there's
isn't it?
it should be based on yearly rates, not weekly rates. I think I'll check myself,
Yeah,
and I'll
but
email you the details.
yeah, you can tell, but I think so it works like that. 1 week for, like, let's say if you work in for if you work for 10 years, so they will calculate 1 week pay for each year. I think so it's something like that. But you can double check, and that we'll can discuss
Yeah,
later.
I mean, I where I work, you can see that some employees are taking voluntary redundancy, and they're being paid 2 years worth of salary for working more than 2 years within the organization, and it's based on their final salary, not based on a weekly salary. So
Oh,
it doesn't sit with my understanding,
so
because
you
in
mean
reality,
2 year salary or two
yeah, yeah,
monthly salary? 2 year
two
salary.
years, yeah.
Okay.
Yazir, I've worked in many organizations in London, and they follow a different pattern. So maybe this is legislation, maybe this is statutory, But in
Yeah,
practice,
could be.
a good organization that truly values their staff and individuals and their long years of service,
Yeah, this
they
is
will,
statutory,
yeah,
redundancy.
yeah.
So
So I think it must there must be an overriding regulation. I mean, statutory is similar to sick pay and
yeah,
maternity pay, but then employers don't necessarily follow these policies on a
this
statutory
means
basis.
basically they can't do less than that,
Yeah, yeah,
they can't do less than statutory redundancy. So there's no restriction if they can go for upper limit. There's no restrictions for upper limit. Yeah.
okay, understood.
You know that they can't do like like let's say if you're talking about a sick pay, statutory sick pay is like I think so. I to be honest, I don't know, but is a let's say is a 400 pound or 400 whatever between 400 and 5. They can't do less than that. Okay,
Mm, yeah,
and they
yeah,
must pay 400. Let's say we assume that it's a 450. They must pay 450 pound. Okay,
mm, yeah,
over limit, there is no upper limit. So like most of companies, I noticed that private good companies, they pay full salary for might be for 1 year or 6 months, and then they start paying half of their salary. So they do
mm,
something like that.
yeah, yeah. So what you're stating here is minimum
Yeah,
within the scope of employment. Okay.
yeah. Termination of employment contracts. Termination of employment contracts generally occurs when the employer ends the employment agreement with an employee. So typically, due to the fault of the latter, if a notice period is not explicitly agreed upon, the Employment Rights Act 1996 mandates specific minimum notice period. So which here it says that continuous employment 1 month, 2 years, 1 month to 2 years, at least 1 week, 2 to 12 years, 1 week per complete year, and so 1 week per complete year. So that's mean the notice should be about 3 months. If it's for 12 years, so 1 week per complete year. So it should be 12 weeks, three
Yes.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 12 years plus 12 weeks notice. So that's it. In terms of statutory redundancy pay, certain categories of individuals are not eligible. This includes former registered dock workers covered by alternative arrangements and share fishermen's, crown servants, members of the armed forces or police services, apprentices not employed at the end of their training, and domestic servants who are immediate family members of the employers. Uh, sh- Short terms and temporary layoffs. Uh, Short terms and temporary layoffs may entitle you to claim statutory redundancy pay if you meet certain criteria. This applies if you have been temporarily laid off without pay or are receiving less than half a week's pay for either more than 4 consecutive weeks or more than 6 non-consecutive weeks. Within a 13 weeks period to initiate the claim, you should inform your employer in writing within 4 weeks of your last non-working day in the specific period. If your employer does not reject your claim within 7 days of receiving it, you should send another notice. Uh, However, your claim may be rejected if your regular work is expected to resume within 4 weeks and continue for at least 13 weeks. Finally, consultation. When facing redundancy, you have the right to engage in consultation with your employer. This discussion should cover the reasons behind your redundancy and explore any alternatives to these outcomes. If your employer is making fewer than 20 redundancies, there are no specific rules for the consultations process. However, if 20 or more redundancies are occurring simultaneously, the collective redundancy rules comes into play. So the duration of the consultation has no strict time limit, but the minimum requirements are as follow. For 20 to 99 redundancies, the consultation must uh, commence at least 30 days before any dismissal take effect, while for 100 or more redundancies, it should begin at least 45 days in advance. Yeah, that's it for today.
Okay.
Because as I said, that it's a quite long, so uh, next, any questions so far or any, issues or concerns?
No, I've captured most of this. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so in our last lecture, as I said earlier, that we will split into two parts. So you will get another, link for, that next lecture, next Saturday, 2 o'clock. I will start from here, and then, assignment lecture we will do on Sunday. Is that right? So
Yes.
that would be
Yeah.
a short assignment lecture. So
Okay.
thank you very much. So if there is any question or any concern, you can drop me an email at
Okay.
yasir@ukversity.co.uk, or you can message me. So thank you very much, Harish. See you next Saturday at 2 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Thank you very much, and bye everyone, and see you next weekend.